Hey everyone, Kyle once again, and welcome back to the last review of the Die Hard franchise. So now we move on to the last one, which I think the title is very crappy, to be honest. A Good Day to Die Hard. Now, when I first heard they were when they were gonna make a fifth Die Hard film, I was looking forward to it. But then as the time went on further, it was like going. It was in 2020 in 2012 is when we first heard about this new Die Hard film, and the end of the whole thing was just when it was going to take place in Russia, and I was like, I don't know, this just could like do something like staying in America, but guess they want to take that. Guess they want to take McClane overseas, so. And then I saw the trailer, and I was looking forward to it though, but I was looking a little bit, not at the same time not sure because from the trailer though. But I saw it. Then I saw it, which is for some reason for an action film, like for a Die Hard film, instead of releasing in the summer, they released it on Valentine's Day, which is kind of weird. And I'll put this as a movie review and a rant because there are things I liked about it and the same things I didn't like about it. So I'm 50-50 on it, so I'm putting a review and a rant. It's not straight out rant movie review. It's a review and a rant. So okay, for things I did not like about it. First of all, I understand that when this film came out, it was panned by critics, which I could definitely see. It has a 14% on Rotten Tomatoes, has a 5.3 on IMDb, the worst reviewed of the franchise, and I understand people hate the film. I do understand that. And probably for a lot of people who are fans of the franchise, well, obviously this is probably their least favorite. Because, like I said, the first Die Hard film, classic, always the best. Die Hard 2 is a solid sequel. I had fun with the film. It's my favorite sequel of the franchise. I love Die Hard 3 with a Vengeance. Another one that I absolutely love. Kicks ass. And I love Live Free or Die Hard, which that's a much better title than A Good Day to Die Hard. But that's also another a sequel that I really love, and good time seeing it back in 2007. Another badass, and Bruce Willis was good through all this whole franchise. And I will say that Bruce Willis, I still think he's good as John McClane, but at the same time, he's like a little bit. When I'm watching the film, his character John McClane is like a bit different in a way. I mean, he doesn't say too many of those good classic lines and funny lines that he has done for the previous 4 films. I think a little part of that personality of John McClane was just down a bit. But Bruce Willis, he still as the whole character of John McClane, he was still good enough for me to watch the film. And what was the other thing I didn't like about that? Like I said, the whole thing. I think the plot of it is the weakest of the franchise by far. It's definitely the weakest. I'll probably much say the plot sucks in it, but probably also one of the reasons to take place in Russia. But still, there is more to it though. And plus, the script by Skip Woods sucks because Skip Woods, for the films that he has written, pretty much all of it sucks. He wrote on the first same year in 2007 because it says like he did a little bit uncredited things for Live Free or Die Hard, which didn't know. But 2007 he did Hitman, that sucked. X-Men Origins Wolverine, That sucked. Then the A-Team 2. Then they wrote the script for this film. Then in 2014, Sabotage with Arnold Schwarzenegger. That film sucked. And then on the next Hitman film, Hitman Agent 47, and that sucked. I have not seen Thursday yet. I think he said he directed the film. I have not seen that film yet, so I don't know. I can't judge on that one though. But all of the films he's written, like Sabotage, Hitman, X-Men Orders Wolverine, have all sucked. And the second thing is the director of this film, John Moore. I'm not a fan of this guy as a director because he directed the remake of The Omen, and that sucked. And then he directed Max Payne with Mark Wahlberg, and that also sucked. Other films. I'm looking for other films he's directed. I know he directed The Omen remake. I know he directed Max Payne. I know that. He also directed Behind Enemy Lines. And I'll probably say that's the only good film that this guy's directed because I like Gene Hackman and I like Owen Wilson. So and that was the first film the guy had directed. So the first time he made a film, that was a good one, and that was Behind Enemy Lines. Then after that, he directed the remake of Fly the Phoenix. I think that's a remake too. Yeah, the remake of the 1965 film. Yeah, Fly the Phoenix, that with Dennis Quaid. Sadly, that film sucked as well. And then he directed The Omen, then Max Payne, and then a 5-year gap between Max Payne, which was 2008, and then the next film he directed was this film. So, I'm obviously not a fan of this guy as a director because he only made one good overall. He made one good film, Behind Enemy Lines, but the rest of the films, well, I would say he was not the wrong. He was the wrong choice to direct this film. I mean, for the films as a franchise, John McTiernan, he directed the first and the third film. Then you got Renny Harlin directed the second film. Lynn Wiseman, he did a good job with Live Free or Die Hard, even though I hate the remake of Total Recall. So even though I hate the Total Recall remake, that sucked. But Lynn Wiseman, I like Underworld, the first one. I have to give the sequel that he also directed to watch again though, but I like the first one. And Live Free or Die Hard was a badass film, so he did a great job with this. Maybe they just could give Lynn Wiseman another chance to direct the second one, or if not, give Renny Harlin another chance to direct, because he hasn't made a good film. Actually no, Skip Trace with Jackie Chan and Johnny Knoxville. That was a decent film, but the rest of the films he's done over the past few years, like Covenant and then Legend of Hercules, and give Renny Harlin another chance to direct. If John McTiernan came back to direct a third film, why not get Renny Harlin to direct another one, or give Lynn Wiseman another chance to direct the second one? Because I like Live Free or Die Hard. I just think that John Moore was the wrong choice to direct this film, though. So, other issues I have, the bad guys. The guy who was the one who was like the side villain, who was like the dancer, what Bruce Willis called the dancer. That guy, the villain, he was a nothing villain. I would say the guy who played the character Yuri, he played with Sebastian Koch, or I forgot how to pronounce the guy's name. Which I will admit, though, I didn't see that part though. I didn't see the part where he actually is a bad guy, so I didn't see that coming. Which a lot of people would say, people say they would have seen it coming though. But to me, I thought it was a good twist where he was actually overall a bad guy. He shoots the dancer bad guy. Okay, that's one thing. One positive thing. I did not see that thing. I did not see that little bad guy twist coming. So I will admit to that. Yeah, I think that's well. I'll continue as more as the negatives are going. But as for the positives, okay, was it Bruce Willis? Overall, he still was good. He was good. He was still tolerable. I think some of the personality things of his dialogue and some of the traits, like John McClane for all the previous films, was like a little bit toned down a bit though. But still, Bruce Willis was overall good. Jai Courtney, I'm not a big fan of this guy either. But I mean, I even didn't even mind him in Suicide Squad. And he played Captain Boomerang because I thought he was like a little bit more energetic. But in this film, I think I overall did not mind him. But in this film, as who plays McClane's son Jack. But Terminator Genesis, he was a shitty Kyle Reese. He was horrible in that. And he was not all that good with in I Frankenstein with Aaron Eckhart. I thought he was not that great either. So yeah, I think I overall did not mind him in Captain Boomerang and Suicide Squad. Just and then I think I didn't mind him when he played his son, McClane's son Jack. I think he was all right. But I think he was a very crappy Kyle Reese in Terminator Genesis. I'm not hate that movie. But I like a lot of the action. I will say that the action I thought was okay. The one thing I'll say that John Moore did good was the action. I think that was the one thing that John Moore did was the action. Good was the action because the story as the story goes. Okay, Jack McClane, John's son, he's in the CIA. And he was like doing something in the assassination attempt, or it was because he's a spy. He was like maybe attempting something to protect this guy Yuri, which he was imprisoned by this other Russian congressman, I think he is. So, and then McClane finds out about what happens to him, so he goes to Russia, which before being dropped at the airport by his daughter, Lucy, once again played by Mary Elizabeth Winstead from the previous film. And she's only in that for one part, and one for during the car chase, he's on the phone with him, and then at the end she appears at the end of the film. So overall, maybe like a minute total. So he goes to Russia, and then another thing I thought I didn't like was that he's sitting in traffic. He's talking to this taxi driver, thinking about Frank Sinatra and all that, singing. That was just didn't I care for that either. Then he goes to this courtyard where he sees his son, and then the bad guys they plant bombs in these cars to set the explosions to blow up the courthouse. Jack and Yuri, they get out because Jack was going to protect him. And as they get in this van, McClane stops in front and saying, "Jack!" And he goes, "Dad?" And then, for some reason, the Yuri guy gets out because he doesn't trust the guy. But Jack comes making him go back, and he was gonna pull a gun on his son. He's like, "You shoot me, you shoot your own father." Because the thing is, why he doesn't like his dad, because years ago there was like a fight. There was some fights between them, and they haven't spoken to each other since. And that's why he keeps on calling him John for all the time, because of that. Like for the moment, Live Free or Die Hard in the beginning, where Lucy he kept on calling she called him John instead of calling him Dad. You know. So that's else because I guess the whole thing that John hasn't been that good of a father, whether it was with his kids. That's why they've been calling him John. But it seems like he's good terms with his daughter, so now he's patched things up with his son now. So, and I thought the car chase, which for some reason this whole big car chase, I guess a while back looked up, it looked like it took a long time to film. I guess this huge car chase was like took like over 70 days to shoot. Seeing the whole car chase, it didn't look like well, if you're shooting all these car chases, like all these cars being damaged and all that, maybe though. But to me, it didn't feel like it didn't need to be that long. Well, I am not a filmmaker, so I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know of all the production problems for it though. But still, I'm like over 70 days to shoot for one car chase. But I did, but what I was saying, but all that aside though, I thought that it was a pretty decent car chase. You know, the bad guys in this big armored truck, and they're mowing down all these cars. A lot of good practical cars being destroyed and all that, and you know, because this big freaking armored cars is mowing down cars in its way. Or for one part where it jumps off a ramp and it makes its taxi cab go flying up and hits the bottom of the bridge where the freeway is. That was a good car stunt, actual car stunt, not CGI. And McClane, he's right behind them. And one part where they get an RPG rocket launcher, they shoot McClane. He goes to turn around and misses the truck he's in. And then his truck goes and flips over these other cars. Good, more car stunt sequences. And you get to one funny line that McClane says that where he's in the traffic and this guy like he's on the hood of this guy's car and he hits the brakes and he goes flying. And the guy comes out speaking in Russian and McClane's like, "What?" And like bitch slaps the guy. And he's like, "Do you think I understand a word you just said?" So I thought that was a funny line. Although there's one line that he keeps on saying throughout the whole film, which I thought was kind of annoying though. He keeps on saying, "I'm on vacation, I'm on vacation, I'm on vacation." I will say that was an annoying thing. One time was good enough though. He didn't keep on repeating the same thing over and over. "I'm on vacation, I'm on vacation." Yeah, that was annoying. Once was enough. And then there's one point where he's on the phone with his daughter. You know, saying how's Jack doing? And then she cuts her off, and then and he gets on this car. He's in the car. Then he sees them down there, and he goes off this bridge to go on top of these other cars to make way. Well, he's running on top of all the roofs of all these other cars to get to them. And then you get to one part where he's ramming the armored car, and then they took the line from "Live Free or Die Hard." I could clearly tell that was just dubbed, added in for John. The line they added in for that part is from "Live Free or Die Hard" is when in the film when McClane was dealing with a fire jet on the freeway when he was in that truck, and he's like, "Is that it? Is that your best shot?" Clear, I know that because I know that how the line is. They took that line from "Live Free or Die Hard" and they added in there just before he made the truck go off the freeway, and that felt so out of place. I mean, that doesn't even sound like when McClane he said it in that sequence. It was just like added in, dubbed for saying that. Just felt so out of place. But yeah. They took that line from the fourth film, and I liked how he made that armored car go off the freeway and it landed right on top of this other this construction car. Had these like cement circles or cement tubes. I don't know what they are. Actually, fly into them. More good cars, practical stunt cars. I don't know how it is, but it's good practical stunt work. I would say that. So yeah, overall the whole car chase was pretty decent. Lots of good practical uses. Some CG enhancements, which for the most part I couldn't tell though. But I know that someone used CG enhancements, especially for the more towards the end of the film. So yeah. And then McClane gets in the van with the son, and saying the son is like, "Shut up, John, or I'll really put a bullet in you." And it's like, "Oh yeah, and you know what? I'm still your father and all that." And it's like, yeah, so the son still hates his father still. And they go to the safe house where they meet with his partner, played by Hauser. Hauser, he's been in some films. He's had a small role in Olympus Has Fallen. I remember a while back he was in that film with Vin Diesel, the first one of Riddick, Pitch Black. So he's been in a few other films, Hauser. And And then John sees that his son is like is a spy, is all this stuff, and but the bad guys find where they are, shoots Cole Hauser in the head, and John McClane, he gets his machine gun and for cover for his son and Yuri. He shoots and he's shooting this machine gun and it's mowing all these guys down who keeps on coming in through the doorway, just mowing them took like 10 guys who keep on coming in at one time. And then he says, I'm on vacation again, which, like I said, annoying. It got annoying because once he said one time was enough. Like, he doesn't keep on repeating the same thing. So they escape, and then they had to go to this where they were after is Yuri. He needs to get this key, and he remembers where he left it. So they go to the top of this building where this ballroom is. And then his daughter, the guy's daughter shows up, and Bruce was like, "How did you get here so fast?" And she's with the bad guys, and takes her father. Then they get John and Jack, and the bad guy who's like the dancer guy. He's not much to run home about. I mean, he's just a nothing villain. All he does is just tap his feet does a little dance for them, and that's pretty much about it. And when they escape from their restraints, John McClane, he goes and beats the guy up a little bit, and it's a decent, and the shootout's decent, and like when both the father and son, they shoot these glass on the ceiling as a distraction, and they shoot more guys, and as the bad guys get on the helicopter, they shoot at them through with their helicopter, and then they jump out through this window and they land one of those things on the side of the building for construction, and they slide down some more, being shot at, and they just fall all the way down, and they get away, and they sit down and have a chat, father son chat, and it looks like Jack got stabbed a little bit, this little metal rod here. So they find out where they're heading to. They're heading where Yuri's had his key to his vault, and it's in Chernobyl. And I like the idea where the third act takes place in Chernobyl. I did like the idea for that location. I will say that's another positive thing. So then John and Jack they steal this car where it had all these guns in the trunk. And they're driving, they get there, and the bad guys, they open this vault, and the vault contains a whole bunch of cases of uranium. And this one, I was mid to the twist I didn't see coming, where the guy, the dancer guy, he says, "Where's the file?" Because that's what they've been wanting to get was his file, was like evidence for this against this congressman that knows Yuri, and then boom, gets shot in the head, and it's by the guy Yuri. He turns out he's the actual bad guy. So, and he calls that Russian congressman that I don't know if he's a congressman, but he looks like one of those. He looks like one of those guys. He calls that guy up, and he has one of his men, because he's getting like a steam massage or something, and he has one of his men choke the life out of him. And then when they get there, both the McClanes, they get there and they realize the guy is not who we thought he was. And the guy here says, to Jai Courtney, he's like, "You know me though," and he says, "Yeah, I know you, but I know him better, his father." And it's like, is this about money? John goes, "Well, it's never about money," because actually that's what it is. Because like the first Die Hard, they hold these hostages, and it's all about a heist. It's all about these bearer bonds, which not Die Hard 2 actually, because it was about those are actually terrorists. It wasn't about money for them though. But the third film with Hans's brother, he was just toying with John McClane as a distraction, so he can get all these gold, so all that money. The fourth film with Timothy Olyphant and his gang was to create this cyber terrorism, so they can also cipher in some money as well. So overall, you can say, except for the second film, it was mostly about money for all the bad guys. So then they get into this other shootout where Yuri runs to the roof and they set this grenade off, like it has all this the gases that's in there. Big explosion, the CG explosion, but also it was a mix of CG and some usage of real fire, flames and stuff like that. But so it was a mix of that. And McClane goes, what the hell was in that grenade? And Courtney, he goes up for Yuri, and while John goes in the helicopter where the guy's daughter is in, and he sees that they're shooting at Courtney, who was on the roof, and then John gets in his car and says his signature badass line, "Things we do for kids, yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker." So it's always nice to, regardless if this film was bad enough though to a lot of people though, it's always nice to hear McClane saying his one memorable badass line, "Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker." So yeah, even though this film was bad, it was always nice to hear that memorable line. So he used the truck to weigh the helicopter down so it doesn't stop shooting at him. Like, the helicopter's here, and he drives his truck out of here, so it goes like this. Well, more like this, because that's where it kings out, to weigh the thing down. And then Jack already got the guy, and he throws him off the roof, and he gets sliced and diced by the helicopter tail propeller. And then John gets thrown in through the glass. Looks like a decent stunt where he gets thrown in through the window. And then a daughter just snaps and just goes and drives the helicopter right through the window. And I did also like the moment. And now the whole thing, I like this whole action sequence is shot. I will say that. That's when John and his son jump out the window. You actually see John, like, as he's jumping out, he gives like the middle finger as he's jumping out the window. And I like the whole thing is shot where they're both slowly going through level by level into the water, and the helicopter, of course, it's obvious CG though, because I couldn't do a stunt reel for real though, but it's a decent effect where the whole thing is, it goes in the building and explodes and falls to the ground as they're jumping off into the water, from level to level into the water. So then Jack, he's just looking for his dad, and he goes, "John, Dad," and he's like, already out of the water, and it's like, "Did you just call me Dad?" "No." "Oh, I didn't think so." So as they're both walking out, and the son's like, it's hard to kill McClane. Which yeah, because it's hard to kill John because he's already lived through a whole bunch of crap 4 times in a row, so now a 5th time. And he's in another line, he says, "Do you go looking for trouble, or is it always looking for you?" And then John goes, "After all these years, I'm still asking myself the same question." And that ends when they both come back to America, and Lucy's waiting for them. And you see John with his 2 kids together, walking side by side. Which when I did see this in the theater, I was just thinking when that film ends, I was like thinking, what, when they make another one, because there were talks of a 6th film. And I was like, what? So now on the next film is now Lucy and Jack are going to go on another adventure with their father. So it's like one big family. Well, except for his wife though, because I guess his wife doesn't want nothing to do with him anymore. But it was like the next film is gonna, now both the kids are going on the next adventure with their father. That's what I thought when I saw it in the theater when that film ended. But there were talks of a 6th film. At one point, it was gonna go to Tokyo, which, why can't it stay in America? Why can't it be another overseas country? And then when there was another talk, they were gonna do a prequel, called John, McClane Year 1. Why? How does a prequel work with a young John McClane? What? It's the first time he's in the trouble with bad guys. I mean, To me, I think a prequel is stupid anyway. I'll just be better off to seeing another film once again with Bruce Willis. Who's gonna play a young Bruce Willis? Who? Anyway, I'll be better off with a sequel. Prequel, no. Prequel to me will not work. So yeah. So overall, I can understand why this film was panned by critics. I understand people hate the film. I understand that. It's just I do like some of the action. I like most of the action sequences, like the car chase scene and the stuff at the end. Bruce Willis, even though some of the stuff was like toned down for John McClane's character, there's not too many funny lines that he says like he did for all the previous films. Even though its film is R-rated, so you get more. I forgot to say that it is R-rated. Can't even talk again. It is R-rated, so you get more F-bombs in there, which I said about Live Your Die Hard. They made PG-13, which I prefer watching the unrated edition. It makes it like an R-rated film. I don't know why they did PG-13 in the first place. Just made it R-rated like all those other ones. So, but they made this film R-rated again, so you get more F-bombs in this. It's just that John Moore, he's not the right choice for a director. He's overall a director I don't care for. The script, which I can understand to a lot of people, the script, how they criticize most of the times the plot and then it's just I do understand. I do understand that the plot is not great. I think they just kept it in America. I don't know why they had to go the whole Russian thing and. Because this guy, Skip, he's not that great a writer. Sabotage sucked, and X-Men vs. Wolverine, Hitman, even the other Hitman film. Wrong choice of, wrong director, wrong screenwriter. Even the music by Marco Beltrami, who did the music for Live Free or Die Hard. The score was weaker than the previous film, which I like the score to that film, but not in this film. I think the score was just pretty low standard and weak. That's the basic word for it, weak. So yeah, I didn't care for the score for this film. I mean, the guy who did this, he did better with Live Free or Die Hard. And there's even for the action, all the action sequences in the previous 4 films are still better than the action in this film. I mean, nothing compares to the first Die Hard film. Shootouts were just the same. I mean, the bad guy. I mean, even though the tap dancer guy, whatever his name is, Colonel Stewart is much better villain. Even much better villain than the guy who plays Yuri. Even though, the twist I didn't see coming, that it turns out to be the real villain. Colonel Stewart from Die Hard 2 is miles better villain than both those guys in this film. Jeremy Irons is Simon Gruber, no comparison. And Timothy Olyphant, he's not that great of a villain in Live Free or Die Hard. He was like the main issue I have, though, but still. Maybe because I'll be more lenient on Timothy Olyphant because I like the plot in Live Free or Die Hard for the bad guys plot is much better, I would say, in this film. So I also say the bad guys are much more weaker than Live Free or Die Hard. But like I said, the positive I got out of it was I didn't see the twist coming for the guy Yuri. He was the actual villain. I'm sure a lot of people did see it coming though, but not in the way my mind was. So yeah, and the film, and also for box office wise, it was cost like $92 million. Domestically, even though it was number 1 domestically, it didn't do well. It made like $63 million in the U.S., so it didn't do well domestically. Even though it made more money overseas, so overall total it made about $304 million. It made more, so overall worldwide total, it made more than the second film and the first film. But the fourth one still made the most, and then below it is be the third film. Then this would come in. If it wasn't for overseas, then this film would be the lowest of this franchise. But still, I think they should not release this on Valentine's Day. Should just release it in the summer, because that's where all the Die Hard films were released, in the summer. So yeah, domestically it didn't do that well, and it's much shorter than the previous films. It's only about 97 minutes. It's just that this is the issues is that the John Moore, he did some decent job with the directing of the action sequences, but I still think he was the wrong choice for a director, because I did not like the Omen remake, and I did not like Max Payne, or what was the other one that he directed? I just forgot what other film he directed. I know he directed Enemy Alliance, but the next film after that, I just forgot now. Best film he did was Behind Enemy Lines. But he did some decent good things with the actions. Handled the action sequences pretty decently though. But still, overall, I mean, I know John McTiernan. I think he disappeared because I think at the time he did something. I forget what he did. I think he was in jail for something. I don't know. But if not John McTiernan though, because he came back to direct the third film. Why not get Len Wiseman back to direct this film? Because he did good with Live Free or Die Hard. Much more badass film. This film was not badass. I will say also another thing. This film was not badass. None of the action scenes in the film I would say was not badass compared to the previous 4 films. So, but I was just saying, Len Wiseman. He would maybe I would put him to come back to direct, or Rennie Harlan. He isn't, besides Skip Trace, the films he's done before that though. He hasn't been all that great. I would give Rennie Harlan a chance because I enjoy Rennie Harlan. He directed Die Hard 2, which was a fun, solid film. And that's my favorite sequel, like I said before. And give him another chance, or not Len Wiseman, but not John Moore. Plus hire a different screenwriter. Like, get some of the screenwriters who did the first Die Hard film or Die Hard 2. This is the Die Hard film. This is funny that Die Hard 3 with a Vengeance was like mixed though, but up until like after Die Hard 4, which most of the entire franchise overall was pretty much like critically praised, but until this came out. No, it was panned by critics and just by all the things that was wrong with it. So yeah, so I can still watch it for Bruce Willis. He was overall good. It was overall good in the film, but some of the things they did with his character, like the funny lines and the badass stuff that he did in the previous films, I didn't feel that there was nothing in there in this film though. So that's one thing they took away from John McClane, why. And Jai Courtney, I overall did not mind him playing the son in the film. I just did not like him in Terminator Genesis. He was alright as Captain Boomerang in Suicide Squad, but not all that great at the same time. But he was alright. Score by the same guy who did the fourth film wasn't that great. John Moore did some decent things with the action, but that was it. Yes, well, I understand people don't like the film. That's why I'm not very enthused, because this is like, it's as a huge fan of this franchise, I would consider it as like a bit of a disappointment to me. Even though including with the positive things I said, but overall as a film, as a sequel, was like kind of disappointing. That's why I'm putting this as a review and a rant, because of all the stuff I've said. But there are still things I still liked about it though, so I'd rather see another sequel than a prequel. I don't know how a prequel for a young John McClane film works. I don't see how. If they want to do it, make another film and where John McClane goes on another venture with his son and then his daughter again. Maybe she'll do some gunfights like with the son did. I'd rather see that than a prequel. You know, just get Bruce Willis again, get Courtney back, and then get Mary Elizabeth Winstead back. So yeah. Then all three of them go on another gunfight adventure with some other group of terrorists or something like that. But prequel would not work. So yeah. So that's my review for. Like I said, as my favorite of the franchise, it pretty much goes as it is in order. The first Die Hard classic is always the best. My favorite sequel is Die Hard 2, then Die Hard 3 with a Vengeance, and then the fourth one. Then, of course, the least favorite is this. See, my favorite goes like precisely in that number order. I understand people don't like the film. They have a right to say that. I understand that, but I understand it. I just have. That's why I put it as a little bit of a rant to it, because there's a lot of stuff I just didn't like, and I said all the stuff to it. So, but yeah. But hope you enjoyed my review of the rest of the Die Hard franchise. You can go back to the first one, because I did that as a Christmas review a while back. But I hope you enjoy the rest of it when I review this franchise. So yeah. Overall, I still love the Die Hard franchise, especially the four films. I love the Die Hard franchise. It's one of my favorite action franchises. Bruce Willis, overall, he was playing such a badass character as John McClane from the four films, because he was not much of a badass in this film. And he didn't even kill the main bad guys in this film. Like the year he killed the dancer guy, then Jai Courtney, he killed the main bad guy overall. So John McClane, he didn't kill no main bad guys. That was kind of a disappointment as well. So yeah, he didn't do much. So for the four films, Bruce Willis was very badass, but not in this film, sadly, though. I still overall think it was good, though, but some of the things with his character was with the wrong choice. So yeah. But at least I hope you enjoyed my review for the rest of for the Die Hard franchise. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned on the next movie review. Later.